Christian hip hop in its current status? Like, how would you describe it?
I could be negative, but I could be more negative of the state of hip hop in general.
Yeah.
I mean, I just made hip hop music, before I was saved, and there was lots of whack people. There was whack people on the radio, there was whack people in the clubs, and then there was talented people too. So now we've seen that in Christian hip hop. There's just some people that probably maybe shouldn't be doing it because of a talent reason. Yeah. And here recently I've discovered that there really is people who shouldn't be doing it because of a heart reason. Yeah. And like, I just always very optimistic and always think the best of people, and then I start hearing these stories of people's attitudes and their heart, and it's like, man, they really are pretty much pimping Jesus to put their gifts on display. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
That's the danger. We could be. The church, man, is the perfect place for an insecure person who just wants to show off his gifts and be validated, and the church will validate you. Yeah. That's why I tell people that I work with I got this one guy who sings. He's a very talented singer, and I'm like, has the church ever communicated that you have value outside of the fact that you can sing? No one had ever valued him as a person or his heart or it's just like, you're going to sing? Yeah, you can sing. You're going to sing this special, sing on Easter service. And it's like, I think in Christian hip hop, you have a lot of people wanting to be validated for their gifts when it's like, God wants to see people is more impressed with your heart than with your gift.
That's big, bro. Yeah. That's super big.
I think CHH has become very outward and focused on the gift and the ability than the heart. Because even with the music I listen to, I like to see people who lay their heart out there, because a lot of people can spit and rap. But for me personally, especially since I'm an artist, I want to really feel your heart, stir me up. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Now I see a lot of people are in an attempt to do that, be validated by their gifts. They want to be seen, and they do so by kind of stripping the biblical content from, what they say to get on the radio, as opposed to just being presented as a Christian hip hop artist or a Christian rapper. And now they're even saying I'm not a Christian rapper. Yeah. I'm just a rapper who's Christian. You know what I mean? Yeah. Which I'm okay with, but explain how you feel about that entire attempt to do you feel like that's an attempt to be seen, or?
I think the backlash of it, of people just following the trends, it could be. That's that's what I was concerned when Lecrae did that. Is all these other countless people are going to try to do that when that's a specific narrow calling. I don't have the heart to be able to do what Lecrae's doing. My heart couldn't handle all that attention, man. It probably couldn't. And a lot of these young people, that's just what they want to do. So they don't understand that. Although Lecrae's music on surface may sound more shallow as far as theology or faith, as a person, he's extremely deep and rooted in his faith and theology. Yeah. But these kids who follow suit, what they have is weak and shallow faith and weak and shallow music, and it's just a recipe for disaster.
And then now you got people who are trying to separate, in addition to separating themselves from Christian hip-hop to just being hip-hop, or Christian rapper to just being a rapper, you got music being divided between just the Christian sound and hip-hop. You know what I'm saying? And I'm guilty of it too. We did a Unpack episode. The first one was Anomaly or whatever, and I listened to Lecrae's album, and I was like, say I won't make the radio. You know what I'm saying? That was just for the Christians at the concerts or whatever. But all I need is you will jam on the radio, and people will take to that. You know what I'm saying? Do you think that's reasonable? Do you think that should be done?
Do I think it's okay to try to make a song for secular radio? One thing that strikes me is pretty funny is that most of the secular radio still talk to Lecrae about that song like it's about Jesus, and Lecrae's like, well, no, it's actually just about my wife. Because they automatically have him in that mold. Yeah. And so they're thinking, wow, all I need is you. That could even be about a girl. I know you wrote it about God, but I mean, literally, I've seen this in interviews. Said that. Yeah, they think it's about God, and so I'm like, don't try too hard, because no matter what you do, they see you in this lane. That's why I don't make an idol of titles. I don't really care, what I'm called. I can't speak to the heart of the issue to want to make a song specifically just to try to get it on the radio. And I don't even know if that happens. I think if you try to put a song just to get on the radio, you're probably going to miss the mark. Stuff like that has to happen more naturally. Maybe Lecrae feel like he's fully exhausted some of those topics. That's what I was telling my wife. Is someone had me feature on a song that was about the deity of Christ. And that's a pretty heavy topic. And my wife was like, man, I love your verse. I'm like, thanks. No, so she's like, yeah. I was like, yeah, it reminded me of like the old stuff I used to do. And I was like, it made me realize that I could, but I've made songs about the deity of Christ on my albums. I've unpacked so much theological stuff in past albums that I don't want to be redundant. I still stand behind those songs. So, and maybe even people have accused my music of being, they're like, go get his first album because he's really watered down now. And I'm like, I don't know.
I'm in a media ethics class right now, and they talk about the responsibility of artists to society in general. Lecrae being the face of gospel hip hop, do you feel like he has a responsibility? Because I didn't think he was that guy to do that at first, but now I'm like, the Lord has him where he has him. You know what I'm saying? But do you feel like he has a responsibility to the body, to the church in general, to like not make that kind of move? You know, because he knows everybody's going to try to follow him and do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you know,
like that had to be a thought of his.
Yeah,
like,
the great philosopher, man, from the 21st century, Uncle Ben, said, with great power comes great responsibility.
Yeah,
you know? And I don't know how, he does have a responsibility, but I don't know practically how to manage and handle that. You know what I mean? I know that, I think he has taken, like at conferences, Unashamed Conference, taking the time out to unpack more what he's doing.
Yeah.
And people have hit me up who've wanted to write songs towards Lecrae. Like, no, I don't want to write a diss song. I'm like,
some of those came out.
I was like, I see why you want answers, but bro, I can send you 5 YouTube links of interviews where he will give you answers as to why. You're not going to get it on a BT interview or wherever, because that's hard. You know, one, he doesn't know how he's going to be edited, how they're going to spin what he says.
Right.
Half the time, they're just trying to get you into a trap to say something and then spin it the wrong way out of context. And
like I'm trying to do right now.
Yeah. And look, I think Lecrae understands his responsibility. I think he feels the weight of it. And I think that's why he takes the time out, like at the Unashamed conferences or other things, to have workshops where he unpacks his view of Christ and the gospel and the arts. You know, he had me read a book when I asked him. We had a long text conversation because, I mean, let's face it, he's diametrically gone against everything he instilled in me. You know, I had dropped $1,000 on beats on my first album. And when he heard it, he was like, you can't do that. Those are secular beats. Like, you know, that's, and you know, all of those things, you know, my music needing to have more, you know, didactic and teach more in my music. And I'm thankful for it.
Yeah.
But it was super confusing, you know. I mean, I felt like I couldn't even collab with someone unless they held to like the 5 points of Calvinism. And now he's got Big Crit on a project, and young kids in my Bible study are like, yeah, we looked up Big Crit's music. There's a lot of cussing in it. Like,
yeah.
And so
I love that new B.O.B. song.
Yeah. He had me, you know, read this book, and I don't even want to say I disagree, but
you can say it.
I read the book. The book made some good points, but for me, I'm like, dude, my music has to come from the heart. And this is what's in my heart, what I put out. And, you know, I said, Lecrae, do you think people are still called to do what I do? He's like, yeah, most definitely, like, to make songs to edify and build up the church. But at the same time, like, you look where Lecrae got where he has, and it's been off those songs. So
I had a conversation with my pastor at my home church, and my pastor was like livid after one of the interviews Lecrae did, talking about he's not a Christian rapper. He's just a rapper that's Christian. Then he did the Church Clothes one, and my pastor was like, dog, okay, that's cool, you're gonna do that, but don't just shoot us down. You know what I'm saying? It's hard to get Lecrae in a church to do an event now, it seems like. And it's like you came up off of us, you know what I'm saying? Like, you did the shows at churches and you sold the albums at Kids Across America, Christian camps, you know what I'm saying? Like, don't elevate and go here to Power 105 and then just like not mess with us no more. Seemed like he was saying.
And I think his Power 105 interview was one of the better interviews he'd done. I think he was so nervous and afraid of what or what not to say. And I would be frustrated, but then I think about if I'm at my job, because this is Lecrae's job,
Yeah.
Right? At the time, I worked at a bank, and someone sits down at my desk and is like, so you have faith in Jesus? Like, that's going to catch me off guard. Like, how am I going to unpack that? Because they're just going to be there for 5 minutes. Like, how do you approach that? So I think he's learning as he goes along. And I've just seen, I've seen the transition happen. And I mean, I haven't really transitioned in that same way.
Yeah.
But I think that no matter what you try to get people to call you, they're going to call you a Christian. I mean, he still gets called Christian. Every interview they refer to him as, we got Christian rapper Lecrae. I'm like, give it up.
Yeah.
You tried it for 2 years, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
And that's why on my title track to my album, I say, be different, embrace it, the shame of Christ, just face it. The term Christian carries a lot of negative connotations now.
Of course.
And you know what? It was designed that way. Like, we didn't come up with that. People originally called Christians that, probably within shortly after the resurrection of Christ, called them that as a negative term. You know what I mean? Just embrace the shame that comes with being a Christian.
Yeah. Do you feel like, because the title to the album is Be Different, Lecrae just dropped Anomaly.
Yeah.
Like, do you feel you're going to face any kind of, he's piggybacking or blah, 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 blah?
I feel like I will. I have in the past. I feel like I unpacked more so what it means to be different than his album did. I saw a song like Say I Won't. That's like someone like throwing like a volleyball like right in the strike zone for you just to knock it out the park.
Yeah.
To unpack that, and they just missed it to me.
And you still strike.
There's nothing special about being awkward for the sake of being awkward. There's nothing special about my son saying, yeah, Chewbacca. Like, what makes it different is when my son says, man, I want to love Jesus with all my mind, heart, and strength, and I want to love other people more than myself. Say I won't. Like, and I think that was probably in their minds, but they never really communicated that. And so that's what the album Be Different, it's twofold. It's not just like be awkward, be weird, be a misfit, which Social Club has that on lock. It's to say, to really be different, love God like more than anything, and love people more than yourself. And the second, the sub, area of that would be, I grew up in a family riddled with drug and alcohol addiction. I mean, the stuff that I saw by the time I was my son's age, I thank the Lord my son does not know that world. I thank the Lord that I can say, my son, I wish I had my son's life. He's got a cool bedroom. He's got a bunk bed. I always wanted a bunk bed. He's got this, me and his mom don't throw stuff at each other. He's never seen me pull his mom by her hair. He's never seen me overdosed on crack cocaine. He's never seen his mom hanging herself in her closet and have to pull her down off of a noose. And the whole world said, Dillon, this was your environment. You're destined for destruction. You're destined for a life of brokenness. And I'm saying be different. Like, don't be a statistic. I'm not a statistic. I should have been this way, but I'm not. And so I go to all these churches, and there may only be 50 people at the show, but there's that one young person who's had suffered at the hands of drug and alcohol addiction in their home, and they haven't told anyone because they're so ashamed of it. And they say, you can speak on stuff once you've been healed from it. That's a sign of being healed. They see me being different and speaking on my upbringing, and they'll come up to me after the show, man, and pour their heart out. I've seen 14-year-old boys sit there crying in front of all of their friends, like pouring their heart out to me. People aren't in line to get autographs or whatever, and he's like, you can tell he's embarrassed that he's crying, but he can't stop. And he's like, my brother him and my dad have started doing drugs together, my older brother, and he's just pouring his heart out. And I'm just like, man, Lord, let me tell these kids that they can be different. That doesn't have to be their life. You know what I mean? So that's the heart that I carried into this project, from which I started, like, I think I checked the Instagram feed. I think I first posted a picture using the Be Different like 80 weeks ago, long before Anomaly. So when Anomaly came, I called my wife and I was like,
dang, bro.
I was like, you remember how we were going to do the thing where people write out a little testimony and then put hashtag Be Different?
Oh, man.
And like hold it up. I was like, Lecrae pretty much
just shot that down.
And my wife was like, well, you know what? There's probably so many marketing people that went into Lecrae's album. Like, you should be very proud that you thought of that idea, right? And so then I was like, I was into my album, 80%. It was written. The whole marketing ideas were behind it. And I was like really debating, like I probably need to change the album title and just go a different direction. My wife was like, no. She's like, just do it. So I went with it. It was kind of risky, but we'll see what happens on Tuesday.
I think it's funny how that happens because Sean C. Johnson. Sorry, Sean. I don't know if I'm supposed to be saying this, but he sent me a track called Magic and Kareem 3 weeks before Same Team. Very same concept. And I loved the track. He sent me the track and was like, bro, this is tight. I was like, bro. And I got on some gangster stuff. I was like, bro, you should drop that mug before Same Team come out. You know what I'm saying? Because by this time they were on Instagram. Like Collision was on Instagram saying like, yo, we finna drop this, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, dang, that sucks how that happens. You know what I'm saying? Like you got all these plans and just because these people have a higher platform, if you come out with anything after that, it looks like you're biting.
You gotta watch them around your wife though, because they like those vocals.
They like that, yeah, for real though. He sung the evening that I proposed to my wife. Like we did a party.
Wow.
Yeah,
was one of the gentlemen.
The Order of Gentlemen. Yeah. Dang, I just happened to be wearing the shirt, but yeah, we had an event. All white party, and he sung at that joint.
Why wasn't I there?
Serenaded her, you know what I'm saying? We didn't know each other. It's all good, though.
I'm white, though. Only fitting.
Yeah, it is. Although there were no white people there. It was kind of weird.
Oh. I could have been the only one.
Yeah, you could have been the anomaly.
I would throw this bottle of water.
Album coming out the 18th. Is there is it a roller coaster? Is this more of an emotional album? Is there some turn up to it? Like
there's always a roller coaster with me. Okay. Yeah, it's always, and that's probably been the gift and the curse because I could turn up or I could go David Crowder on them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think I look at the upbeat songs. I got Dre Murray and Princeton Marcellus on a song called Problem Solved. I have a song called Do It Anyway with me and Cadence. It's been on Rapzilla. It's been very well received. Real Bay Area type of sound. I have a song called Wow. It's just got a crazy feel to it. When I look at those songs, though, I feel like other people can do those songs besides Dillon Chase. Like Cannon could do it. KB could do a song like that. Space Bars.
Yeah.
But then when I listen to a song like the title track, Be Different, or Even in the Dark, and I'm like, or Dreams, and I'm like, I don't feel like other people can really do those type of songs.
Yeah.
So I feel like my strong point as an artist is more the emotional, like, let me give you a glimpse into my life, which I've always done, which some artists are just now starting to do, which I'm glad, but I've always been like, let me just give you a glimpse into my life. So I think those are the songs that will have a timeless factor to them that you can always go back to.
Yeah.
Like, because, stuff is going to transition in and out. But I relied heavily on timeless instruments like piano, strings, like acoustic guitar. Like, dude, those have been relevant for forever.
Yeah,
right?
not going away.
Yeah. And so I think when you can speak to someone's heart, like you look at some worship music, you can listen to it 3 years. You can put it down for a while and come back to it. And it's like, wow, this is good. Yeah. But sometimes hip-hop music doesn't do that. I'm a huge fan of like Coldplay.
Yeah.
And I listen to their albums from
I jam Viva La Vida all the time.
And I'm like, I could listen to their albums from like 10, 13 years ago.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what is it that has that element of just timelessness? You know what I mean? Is hip-hop too immature of a genre to accomplish that? And I don't think so. And I hope that, I don't think this album is completely timeless, but I think there's bits and pieces of it where I move towards going into that area of music where you can't put a time on it. Like it's gonna be relevant.
Tell the people where they can cop the album, physicals, download what?
You can get the album on iTunes on November 18th. You can also get it on Google Play and Amazon, but hey, Team iPhone, who really needs those stores anyway? And you can also buy it at DillonChaseMusic.com if you're old school and you actually like to open up a CD and put it in your CD player if you still own one. You can get physical copies at DillonChaseMusic.com. Just keep up with me on Twitter and Instagram at DChase116. See, I'm still going off the 116. You got to use it where you can, right?
You know what I'm saying? Plugs.
Yep. And let you guys know whenever I'll be in a city near you.
Already. Also, follow us on Instagram at The Backroom. Follow us on Twitter at The Backroom Show. we're going to have an opportunity for you guys to win a free copy, physical copy signed by Dillon Chase. This was The Back Room. We appreciate you guys tuning in. Till next time. Peace. Appreciate you, bro.
Appreciate you, man.